Hi, Misha here, and I'm gonna do a pretty quick black box. We'll see. The weather has been crazy, but first, before I started this video, I went to pick up the camera and I tripped over a cat leaving the room, and then I dropped the camera on the cat. So, yeah, that's why I use GoPros, because things like that happen. Yeah. It's one way to retaliate against a cat doing the thing. I think the cat thought I was about to sit in my chair because I went over there, so they were running up to jump in my lap, and it didn't work out so well for them. On to the weather. Craziness. It was getting warm, and the frogs were coming out and chirping. It was starting to feel a little bit spring, but then it got the memo that this is Easter weekend, so it's cool again. Last night it was just above freezing here, and today it's warmer, mid-40s at night, but it's dead quiet out again. The bugs and the frogs have decided to yeet out of here for a little while. But this being Arkansas, wait, and it'll probably turn the other direction quick enough. And I do like winter, I really do. But even I'm ready for spring. I was thinking about why we didn't have a horrible winter, as in it wasn't blisteringly cold like a couple of years ago. But a lot of times Arkansas winters are a couple of weeks of pretty darn cool weather, and then unseasonably warm, back and forth. This winter, for the most part, was consistently cool to cold. Even if we didn't get below zero much of any, most every night was below freezing, and the days, oscillated between 20 degrees to maybe 50 at the very most. So there weren't any real warm days. I don't know why. This year I am just ready for spring though, and it seems a little late in coming. We've had a decent amount of rain, but yeah, lots of stuff going on. In politics, things happening, not going to talk about it for oh so many reasons, but not going to. Plus, it doesn't super interest me anyway. It is what it is. In channel news, though, I do have quite a bit to talk about. For the main Mishaco channel, I picked up some new guns. Fox wanted to get the IWI 12 gauge shotgun. It's been out for a little while now, but he wanted to try it, so grab one of those. We'll be reviewing it pretty soon. The Swiss Weissen Defense WD9s finally came in. This is only the second batch. The first batch of 10 was last year. Now another batch of 10 just came in. And I thought, what the hey, let's shoot it again. Years ago, we shot them, but why not do it? I said 2022, I think, in my thing, but it was actually 2021 because Jay was still there. People that asked to on the main channel, Jay actually, I saw him, the beginning of March maybe, and he's fine. He actually bought a set me L, but frankly, he's just said, his words, he just got burnt out of kind of gun stuff and doing the YouTube channel. So, hey, fair play. Everyone has a right to get burnt out. And a lot of people do. It's not an easy job, because it seems like sometimes no matter what, some people are going to be unhappy. Some people will criticize. And, that does wear on people, a certain type of person especially. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that people can't just kind of respect others and let them do their thing, but we don't live in a fairy tale world, do we? So, about to start a few new projects. Finished up a few, including that SA-85M, the Hungarian conversion to an AKM-63. That was a lot of fun. And working on the SIG SG-552 Commando. Getting that ready to go. Plan on SBRing it and figuring out a way to do a 3-prong flash hider. At first, Dave thought he could just find a 3-prong threaded half by 28 over in Switzerland. He says the one time they made them, but they don't anymore. No big deal. What I'm doing is I'm taking the original 3-prong, which is 14 by 1 left hand, and I'm making a small metal insert or sleeve. So basically it screws into the 14 mil thread inside, flush fit, and then adapts down to half by 28. There's just enough meat there. Since you don't have to, it's not a weight-bearing, load-bearing surface. It'll work. Barely, but it does. So you don't have to actually do some janky thing where there's like a thread, then a space, then another thread. No, it'll actually go inside and hopefully look correct. Because really that was my only tiny disappointment with the 5.52 Commandos was the barrel threading. But you know what? Half by 28 is just the modern thread pitch SIG uses. And while they were using older 5.52 internals, they were using current generation modern barrels, which, hey, probably not a bad thing, right? To have a factory new barrel. So, we'll see how that goes. We will see. Planning on other stuff. Working on a collab video with someone based on a certain famous gun that just came in more of. So, I don't know. That'll probably take a little while, but maybe this summer. On the personal channel, though, I've actually got a lot of video topics. Kind of went from kind of hard to think of ideas, basically doing the Star Wars figure videos for lack of anything else. But oh boy, do I have quite a few. I got on a little kick of buying astronaut figures, and then I discovered a brand that the internet seems to have forgotten, and I picked them up. Now, these are toys. I looked for a long time for space models, NASA models, but outside of, the basic Corgi Showcase, Apollo, CSM, and the Lunar Lander from them, and the Hobby Master 1 200 scale Orbiter, man, there's just not much. So, I turned to the world of toys, and was kind of surprised, happily so. One thing, by the prices. Quite cheap compared to models, and for another, the honest to God quality of a lot of them, especially in terms of like detail and stuff. You pay $10-20 for a little toy model command module. You don't expect a whole lot, but it comes out pretty great. In fact, I finally, after years of looking, picked up not one but 3 Soyuz capsules. Now they're quite small. They're about 144 scale, because they're actually meant to interface with space stations. And actually found a pretty nice space station mirror, and even an international space station with a little Soyuz that can dock. Now if I can find a way to get a little shuttle to dock, that would really be neat. But first things first. The Hobby Master stuff we've posted on here. The MiG-31K already did. The MiG-31BM is coming out this July. New Rafale versions, the DG, the B, and the M are coming out soon. I think one's supposed to be even June. So yeah, we already looked at the Rafale C from Hobby Master. So I'm interested to see what they come up with there. The Space Shuttle Orbiter Enterprise, Hobby Master did. Completes the fleet. I'll be saying quite a bit about that. They did a couple of things really good about it, and a couple of things kind of half-assed, but to be honest, I was kind of expecting that. Hobby Master doesn't give the shuttle fleet. I like the models, but they don't do more. For example, they all come with the same little science lab insert for the space lab insert for the cargo hold. That's cool and all, but why not give like a Hubble satellite for one, or another satellite for another? Vary it up. Give different accessories like they do for their fighter planes. The fighter planes often have different missiles and stuff, because it's just a piece of plastic. The model's metal, but typically the accessories are plastic. So yeah, and unfortunately the Enterprise they gave the Skylab for, or the Space Lab, sorry, It fits in the bay, and that's just not really correct. In fact, really, they shouldn't have even made the Enterprise with the opening bay doors, but they're using the same mold, so the same tooling, so it's going to be that way. But they did remember to include the Pytot tube, which was kind of unique to the Enterprise, so they get little points for me on that. But I'll be doing a video on the shuttle fleet shortly, now that we have all 6 of them. And we'll be covering astronaut toys, some rockets, some spacesuits, various things, and yeah, a couple of space stations. And then, completely by accident, I discovered something. Super 7 did a limited series of figures for 2001: A Space Odyssey. And at first I didn't pick them up, but I found a really good buy for the complete set, at least what felt like a good buy to me. And I couldn't say no. Got them in, and even the wife thought that they looked pretty sharp. So we'll be doing that. Now if I can just find a nice model of the Discovery from that movie, that'd be great. Or the Leonov from 2010. Or both, why not? So quite a few topics. Plus, as I teased in a previous Blackbox, Xenopixel V3 is out. And yes, I did receive the Dooku saber from Dark Wolf Sabers, but haven't really had time to play with it and learn it. And the app for it, the Bluetooth controlled app, is still under development, not quite released yet. And the full instruction guide for controls and this, basically there's a lot of neat promise, but they're still kind of activating stuff. But just looking at it, kind of poking through the files, this is going to be just, it may even be a bigger update from 2 to 3 than we had from 1 to 2 with Xenopixel. There's a lot of potential for programming, and yeah, it's getting really, really close to Profi now. But unfortunately, I thought about doing a quick video, but it would be half-assed or even quarter-assed, and I didn't want to do that, so I wanted to wait till I had time. And frankly, guys, the last 2 weeks, a lot's happened. Personal, mostly to do with my wife's family. I don't want to go into that here. It's private info. But so a couple of things with my family too, and just priorities, needs, must, and things will slow down, and we'll get back on it and hit some snags doing the cabin. I'll just say this right now, man, good help is hard to find. It's really hard to find people willing and able to work and do things like they say, and I'm not giving up, but I'm gonna have to regroup and kind of reassess and maybe go back a bit, and because I've got to find someone else to do it, because the first guy who talked a real good game didn't turn out to be that good. Luckily, I didn't really give him much of any money yet, so I'm only really out time and a little bit of heartbreak, but the land's still there, and it'll all come up when it's right. It really will. But yeah, March was quite an eventful month for us around here. We are doing another range trip. In fact, probably by the time I post this video, we will have done it. And there'll be, half a dozen new guns we've played with then and there. And I don't know, just kind of trying to remain optimistic, and I'm feeling pretty good. I always like having new things to learn about and deal with, and it's kind of where we're at. All the critters are well, and can't complain there. Businesses slowed down a bit, but with the recent batch of Swiss SIGs and those Weissens in, it's picked up some. It's slow because I'm having a hard time finding stuff to sell. I don't sell just AR-15s and Glocks. I tend to sell the more obscure, uncommon, harder to find stuff, and it's just harder to do. But I did pick up a medium-sized batch of bolt-action guns locally. I think total 12, 15, and I've been putting those up, and they've been doing well. The Remington Mosin we featured on the main Mishaco channel, I really did consider keeping it, but I've got so many Mosins, and with so much else going on, and with sales, like I said, having not been the best recently, I put it up, and it did very well. I'm glad I did, and I hope the guy who got it loves it, because it is a cool piece of history, and it's relatively unmolested, no import mark. Really, the only ding against it, it's missing the upper handguard, but that's not uncommon for those Moisins. We'll see. Yeah, on the gun front, I'm not really looking for anything on the personal level. I'm always kind of picking up stuff for the store. But personally, I'm really happy with what I own. Right now, I've been more focused on my somewhat obsessive astronaut buying spree, but it's fun, and I've always loved that stuff since I was a tiny kid. I don't even mean like a 10-year-old, but I mean like a 3-year-old. So even if I didn't want to buy them today, the inner kid in me would never forgive me if I didn't buy essentially what are G.I. Joe astronaut figures, but not G.I. Joe. Anyway, those will be a series of videos because I promised to do a nice big one on Apollo. And that will be coming probably when I get back from the range trip. I'll start working on it, getting notes down, because I've got a lot to talk about, from the Saturn V to the Apollo CSM to the LM, the lunar module, to even the LRV, the lunar roving vehicle, plus heck, even the A7L spacesuit. So I'm going to go all out on Apollo. Why not? And then probably go into the space shuttle, talk about the launch stack and the equipment on the shuttles, talk about each of the different shuttles, because even though they look similar externally, each shuttle was slightly different. Columbia was very different from Atlantis, for example, and Endeavour was an interesting thing because of it being kind of built from spares. But yeah, a lot of stuff I'm happy to do. Something about spring and summertime always kind of brings my interest in space back. You get into the winter, fall and winter, I tend to get more into militaria and firearms, and then in the spring and summer I'm more sci-fi and whatnot. And as you saw, Eagle Moss, well, Master Replicas is up and running, and my first test order went well, the USS Toussaint, and even though it's pretty much just an inquiry class, it completes the little fleet, so why not? If I hadn't, I probably would have been annoyed with myself, because I looked on eBay after Eagle Moss went under, and those Toussaints were extremely expensive, because they were all just given away as gifts, subscriber gifts, and I don't subscribe. I just buy stuff as I want it, need it, can afford it. I don't like subscribing where you know your card's going to get charged. Just how I do things, your mileage will vary. But anyway, I just wanted to give you a little update, and hope everyone has a very good Easter weekend. Ours will be very low-key, doing a little shooting on one day, and then of course Easter dinner with the family, and then back to home and back to work Monday. Hey, is it just me, or did spring break seem rather long and disruptive this year? It seemed like almost everyone I know, not just kids, but adults too, and even at work, took spring break off, even 2-3 weeks. It just seems like the second half of March ground to a halt. And I think it's because, 2020, that's right when everything started, was the beginning of March. So that killed most spring break. 2021, right in the middle of it, couldn't do it. 2022, okay, things are loosening up, but people were still told, hey, don't go somewhere where there's a lot of people if you can help it. A lot of things. I think this was the first year since 2019 people felt safe and free to go on vacation, and they availed themselves of it. And while I didn't go on spring break as such, we did go mudding and stuff, and I did leave for a week, so I guess that does kind of count. Not exactly a vacation when you go visit family, but it kind of is. So I'm sure I joined the ranks in that as well, because I think we just all were ready to get out and flex a bit. So yeah, hope everyone's doing well, and stay tuned for probably a lot of space videos coming up soon, but I do have some real world stuff from, well, that is real world, but you know what I mean, military stuff from Hobby Master and Corgi coming, and a few other odds and ends, and we will get around to the Xenopixel V3 lightsaber once I really get comfortable and learn all its ins and outs. So, with that, this is Misha. Catch you very soon next time.